Hello, my friends, and happy Thursday. We have another Shekere necklace today. Since the Shekere necklaces, ever since I started making them, they have been so popular. And this year in Tucson, I found the perfect little eggs to put in the Shekere necklace. So while it's not specifically an Easter project, but there's definitely a little bit of a nod to Easter. So I'm very excited about that, and I am going to show you how to make a Shekere necklace that is adjustable, or not adjustable, but rather interchangeable. And I've made them so that they're interchangeable, so that they're not interchangeable. You can make them in so many different ways. I've made them so that they have a long tassel. This one does not have a tassel. It's very simple, and I think it's very fun. So let me show you. I have two different versions of these, and both of these are interchangeable. They both come with two different stones. And I would like to talk a little bit about stringing material. I know I've said this like a million times, but I really think it's worth talking about just how incredibly versatile stringing material can be and how important it is to the project.
Fonda says, good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Hi, Fonda, and happy Thursday to you. I'm so glad you joined.
Ellen says, hi, Irina and everyone.
Hi, Ellen.
Patricia says, good evening, all.
Hi, Patricia, and thanks for joining. Okay, ladies, so let's just do a little chatting before we get started, and perhaps a few more people will join us for this one. So, there are not very many ingredients in this type of a necklace. So every little thing is going to make such a difference. And in my opinion, first and foremost, of course, we have the focal point piece. And the focal point piece in this case is the carnelian egg. And just for fun, let's swap it out for the amethyst egg. So this is the chevron amethyst, and it has fun little chevron patterns on it. Look how beautiful it is. And we can just pop it right into this netting that we are about to make, and we have a completely different look.
Ellen says, oh, my absolute favorite. I have the original necklace kit that I made and wear it all the time.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much. I was hoping that somebody would say something about having made the Shekere necklace. And was it easy to make, in your opinion? So you see how this just looks completely different. So two completely different looks. And of course, if you have additional eggs, or frankly, they don't even have to be eggs. They can be a crystal shape. They can be even a beach stone, as long as it is very similar in size, not necessarily in shape. You can swap it out for a multitude of different stones, or maybe not even stones at all, but whatever you guys can think of.
Angela says, good evening.
Good evening, Angela. And so what else do we want to say about this? So the reason that we are able to open up this netting and pop out, I'm not going to do it again, we just did it, but the reason we're able to do this is because we have this magical little bead that is the key to the whole thing. Not necessarily the whole thing, but it is certainly the key to making this netting interchangeable. So we have that, and then we have the stringing material.
Ellen says, easy and fun to make. Herkimer diamonds on that necklace make me feel rich.
Oh, yay, me too. You know, I adore Herkimer diamonds. I think they're just such a wonderful, I don't know. It's a look that goes with so many different things. It goes with any kind of a boho outfit, but it can also look so very modern and contemporary. And I love the natural shape of Herkimer diamonds. And that is what we're using for this one as well. However, anybody who has never made one, look at our Etsy shop and you will see such a variety of styles of shakeres that we have in the form of a kit.
Fauna says, I too have the original necklace and love it. Will the eggs fit in the original necklace?
That's a great question. Thank you so much. So I have made a few different variations. And so the very, very first, the original necklace, is quite large. I don't have it here, but it's probably almost twice as large. So the netting is too big for the egg. And I'm going to say it may fall out, but even if it doesn't fall out, it will kind of drown in the netting. However, if you have the other shakere, the one with the chakra stones, the one with the drops, it may have been like a labradorite drop and a rock crystal drop, quartz drop. So if you have that one, this egg just might be able to fit in it. And if you join me tomorrow, I will be, since tomorrow is our Pretty in Pink day, this is for the shopping event. If you join me for that, I will be showing just some rose quartz eggs. But then next week, I will be showing more eggs. So should you want to try to just use your original netting and just pop the egg in it, we can certainly try.
Debbie says, hey, everyone.
Hi, Debbie, and thanks for joining us. And you know what? I think what I'll do right after the video, I'm making a mental note right now. I will try together a few of the Shekere necklaces so that I can show you which size the egg fits in and how it fits, and then you guys can decide for yourself.
Our local friend Sarah says hello.
Hi, Sarah. Oh, is this Sarah M?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Sarah, you know what? I meant to call you and let you know that as per your request, I did schedule the Shekere necklace for April. The dates that we talked about, I can't remember the dates now, but I do have the Shekere necklace on this schedule. So if you look at our Eclectica schedule, on the website, you will see the date.
I think it's April 27th, but
You
I'm
know,
not sure.
that rings a bell for me, but I'm just not entirely certain.
Betty says, hello, love these eggs. I wear one of these necklaces my daughter made for me with medicinal gemstones in it that make me feel better.
Oh, that's wonderful. That makes me so happy. Yay.
Ellen says it might fit, but I have the double terminated crystal one too, and I don't think eggs will fit.
So if you have that large amethyst one, that's a double terminated crystal, the netting will be too large. But if you have the one with the chakra stones, it may actually be a good fit. And if you join me tomorrow, I will make it a point to grab that one for sure, just so we can all see if it fits and how it fits.
Katie S. says, happy Thursday, I'm late.
Hi, Katie. Thanks for joining us. And you're not really late. We're just saying hello and chatting right now and just talking about what these eggs will fit as far as the nettings that we have made previously.
And Helena says, hi, Irina and Tony.
Hi, Helena. This is Helena from Chicago. And okay, well, it's so nice to hear from you. You know, I have been thinking about you quite a bit.
And Sarah M. says, will do. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. All right, so let's get started, shall we? So this is a fairly easy necklace to make. I personally love making these because I love knotting, and I have a feeling I'll be doing quite a few different knotting projects coming up. In fact, next week we will be doing a knotting project with leather, which I will preview in a little while. And so in the meantime,
Sabrina says, hello, Irina, Tony, and all.
hi Sabrina, and thanks for joining us.
Alina says, yes, it's me.
Awesome, so good to hear from you, my dear. So I am going to just move my Shekere so we have a little space here. And so let me just tell you that when you get the kit, you will have 3 strands of Ceylon. Oh yes, what I meant to say is just a couple of words about Ceylon. I love Ceylon because it comes in so many different colors. And previously, I have only made the Shekeres with black Ceylon. And I wanted to make something a bit more springy, at least for one of the variations. And because Ceylon comes in so many amazing, amazing colors, I was able to match the gray in the howlite. And as we know, these are interchangeable. So, well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and swap it out so you can see. So it just happens that this gray, and believe me, I pondered the gray color for, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes because we have so many wonderful grays. And this happens to be nickel, which is kind of on the cooler side of gray, and against the pink, it almost looks a little bit blue, which I really love. And so I thought, you know, I would love to make something that's a bit more springy, something that's a little bit of a nod to the Easter colors. And so this set is kind of my my interpretation of something that you can wear all spring, summer, something that's maybe a little bit Eastery and yet is not so obviously Easter that you can only wear it for a couple of weeks. And then, of course, black looks amazing with everything, and hence the black Ceylon in the amethyst and carnelian Shekere. Okay, ladies, so let's get started, shall we?
Fonda says, knotting is so relaxing.
Yes, Fonda, I agree. I absolutely love knotting. It's kind of my happy place.
Katie says, hard to choose which pair of stones.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much, Katie. I'm glad I made it a difficult decision.
Kim C says, hi, Irina, Tony, Lauren, and all. This is one of my all-time fave projects. Yay.
Yay. Thank you so much. I love that. Okay, ladies. So once you get your kit, you're going to find 3 very long strands of Ceylon. In fact, they are 5 feet 4 inches a piece. So go ahead and just line them up so that all of the ends line up. And then find the center. And I have already found the center. It's right here. This is where I have my bead holder holding all 3 strands. And I'm going to put the knot right next to it, and this is how I know I'm going to end up right in the center. So this is just going to be a very simple overhand knot, which we have altogether made literally schmillions of overhand knots. So you are not a stranger to those. So I'm just going to tighten this, and then I can take my bead holder out. But this is very helpful to just have that little bead holder so that I don't get too far away from the center. So here's our knot, and I'm just going to tug on all 6 ends before I get started. And the next thing we're going to do is make self needles with all 6 ends. And I know you have seen me do that also about a million times. So don't worry, I'm not going to be doing that with all 6 ends, just one, because I already made the other five self needles. Okay, so I have a little piece of paper. I have one of my 3 favorite glues, and this is the Super New Glue. And this works particularly well for making self needles. So this is what we're going to do. We're just going to put a little bit, a very tiny amount of Super New Glue right at the end, maybe like 1.5 inches at the end of the string. And then we are going to use the piece of paper to take off as much as we can. And that little squeaky noise is a good thing. It just tells us that we did a good job taking off most of the glue, the excess glue. So while that end is drying, we are going to, actually I've already cut all the other ends, but I will just show you. So, well, you know what, let's just do it again on one of them while our new self needle is drying. And so this is what I do. I hold my wire cutter, in this case thread cutter, at an angle so that I get a nice little pointy self needle. So all of this has a little bit of glue on it and it's a little stiff like a needle. So it does dry rather quickly, and I'm feeling the new one, and this is dry as well. So I will snip off that little end, giving it a little point at the end. Okay, ladies, so now we are ready to get started. And what we're going to do is we're essentially going to divide these 6 strands into 3 pair of strands. And so let me show you where we are right now. You see this slightly larger knot, and this is the first knot that we just made. And now I'm going to divide my 6 strands into 6 pairs, and the easiest way to do so is to take one strand from each set of 3. You see how they just kind of want to be in 2 sets of 3? Well, we're just going to steal one from one set of 3, steal another one from the other set of 3, and this is our new pair. And then the remaining ends, you can see they just kind of naturally fall into 2 pairs, right? So we're not going to separate those, and we're going to start tying knots. And depending on the size and shape of your stone, you are going to want to, keep in mind that you don't want the stone to fall out, right? So we're going to be pretty exact about the placement of knots. So let's measure. And once you have made maybe 2, 3 of these, you will just start getting this really good natural feel of just where to place your knots. So I am measuring this, and it looks to me like it's right around 10 millimeters. So I'm just going to tie a knot 10 millimeters from my big knot. So remember, this is my new pair, and about 10 millimeters from that center knot, I am tying a new knot. And again, this is just a very, very simple overhand knot.
Kathy H says, I've been watching, just had to feed my son. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Kathy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Karen says, good evening. I'm late. Was watching my granddaughter this evening for a bit.
Hi, Karen. And again, I'm so glad that you have joined us. Okay, ladies. So here's our first knot. And now we're going to tie 2 more about the same distance from the center. And so there it is. And you can use a ruler, or you can just eye everything, or you can put it right next to the first one and see if it's about equidistant. So just for fun, let's use a ruler. And yes, it's about 10 millimeters. And you know, if you're like at 9 millimeters or 11 millimeters, it's fine. It's really, you know, it's somewhat exact, but not really, really exact. It's not an engineering project. There's just a little bit of winging here that takes place. And so this is my third and final knot of the first row. And sometimes the little strings want to separate, so just tug on one, tug on the other, and make it happen. Okay, so this is good. So we have our first row, and this is what it looks like. So it just looks like a little propeller with 3 knots. And you know, they're not exactly laying equidistantly, because remember, we separated this part from the other 2. So no worries, they will eventually conform to the netting that we are making. So if we look at my sample, you can see that the egg gets just a little bit wider. And so we're probably going to be just a little bit wider with the placement of the next row. And I'm measuring, and it's really not all that much wider. So I'm going to say 11, 12 millimeters would be about perfect. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to separate the pairs. So we take this string from this pair, we take this string from this pair, and we're going to form a new pair. So it's very much like square dancing. It's, you know, how the partners always switch in square dancing. I don't know if I've ever done any square dancing, actually. I feel like I may have.
Yolanda says, happy Thursday. We'll have to watch on replay. Need to get dinner going. I love this technique.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much, Yolanda. And happy Thursday to you, and enjoy your dinner. Okay, guys. So I'm just going to measure. I didn't quite tighten my knot. So I'm going to measure, and it looks like I am at maybe about 12, 13 millimeters. So maybe I need to shorten the distance just a little bit. No worries. As I shorten, or as I tighten my knot, I'm just going to tug this way on the strings. And if I needed to make it a little bit further away, I would be pushing the knot this way. So you always have a little bit of a leeway as you create those knots. Before you make them really, really tight, just measure if you're not sure. And you can move it one way or the other. You can always make it just a little larger or a little smaller.
Kim K says, happy Thursday. Hope everyone is doing well.
Hi, Kim. Thank you. Happy Thursday to you, my friend. And yes, we are doing well. And I hope everyone is doing well. So, we're tying another knot, and it seems that I need to move it this way a little bit, just a little. And again, this is not an exact science. but it helps to use a ruler, I think, especially if you have never done this before. If I just sit down and do it all on my own, I probably do more winging. And we're going to tie the final knot in this row. And I will show you exactly what it looks like. Okay, so again, before I tighten it, let's see how we're doing. Let's measure it. Yep, looks good. And again, I am just tightening the knot just by tugging on each of the strands. So this is the beginning of our netting. And I can't quite make it flat because it's kind of like a little pouch at this point. So I can't make it flat. What you can see that now it's looking like a little triangle. Can you guys see that it's looking like a little triangle? And so now let's just see how we're doing size-wise. So I really like, as I said, normally when I do this on my own, I usually don't measure, but I do a lot of fittings. So I just happened to grab this egg. This is not actually the egg that comes with black. But, okay, so let's grab the carnelian.
Carmen says hello, everyone.
Hi, Carmen, and thanks for joining us. Okay, guys, so this is what it's going to look like once you have your first 2 rows of knots. Can you guys see that? So we have essentially formed a little triangle, kind of a triangle pouch. And now we're going to start on the next row yet. So this next row should be about the same distance as the previous one. So the first one for this size was, remember, it was about 10 millimeters. And the second row was 11, 12 millimeters from the first row. And the third row, again, is going to be about 11, 12 millimeters from the second row. And so this is what it looks like. So again, let's measure it. And it looks like it's about 12 millimeters, so we're good. And now we're going to tighten. And then I'm separating the next 2 and making sure that I have about the same length on each side. So in other words, we don't want to be lopsided like this. This is not the best, right? Because you can see this is really short and this is really long. So we want them to be pretty similar in length. We want the length between the knots to be similar on both sides.
Lori says, hello, Irina and Tony, sends hearts and said I had trouble finding you.
Hi, Lori. Well, I'm so glad you found us, my dear. I am really happy. And so here we go. I'm just measuring it against the previous one. And so that looks good. So we'll tighten it. And now we just have the one remaining pair in this row. And then we'll do another fitting. And, you know, if you are working with multiple stones of different shapes, the netting will conform to a variety of shapes. But it's good to keep putting all the shapes in as you go, just to make sure that you are leaving enough room to accommodate all of them. I hope that made sense, you guys. Let me know in the comments. Okay, so now this is always exciting. Let's see how we're doing fitting-wise. And this is pretty good. makes sense to me. And now we are, actually, you know, we almost don't even have to make another set of knots. How many sets did I make on this one? No, I do have an extra row of knots, it looks like. So we can do another one. But I feel like I may have spaced them just a little bit wider. So I could almost get away with not having an extra row. In fact, you know, the more I look at this, the more I really don't want to put another row in because this is enough. So you can see that my rows are spaced just a tiny bit wider. So just in case, so if you end up with your knots almost at the top of the bead, so there's, you know, what I'm saying is there's a bit of leeway here. It's not totally cookie cutter. So if you end up with your knots this close to the top, you really don't need the last or the fourth row. But if your knots are maybe a little bit further away, then I would probably do another row. Does that make sense, guys? Please let me know in the comments, the number of rows thing. So what I'm saying is you can wing it a little bit. Okay, so now that we have done this, we are going to find our little smart bead and talk about it a little.
Lori says, I love this.
Yay, thank you so much, Lori. So for anybody who's never seen a smart bead, this is a little metallic bead, and inside there is, oh my gosh, why do I forget?
Silicone.
Silicone, thank you, Tony. Yeah, so there's a little silicone that almost like fills the bead with just a little hole, okay? So you can see that hole is not very large, but because it is silicone, it has a lot of give. So the hole will expand to accommodate all 6 strands of our Ceylon. And so we're going to push all of the Ceylon through that little hole, and it should be a little bit challenging to get all 6 strands through. That's okay. It's actually good that it's a bit challenging because we want this to be a fairly tight fit. And then as the smart bead slides up and down, it's going to stay in place. And sometimes because I made the self needles, it will just happen just like that. But if not, sometimes I will use my chain nose pliers to help push the strings through. So obviously I didn't have to do that. It was very easy. And you can see that my smart bead will just stay in place. So that is what helps make our little netting adjustable.
Fonda says, makes sense to me.
Thank you so much, Fonda.
Sabrina says, yes, it does. Love the knotting design.
Yay, thank you so much, Sabrina. Okay, so we're going to push the smart bead all the way up to the netting. And you can see that honestly, I really did not need another knot. Okay, so just please know that if it feels like you need another knot, go ahead and tie it. And if you're this close to where the smart bead is going to be, then you're okay with just 3 rows of knots. Okay, so now let me show you. So if we push this little smart bead all the way up to the top of the stone, we have a little bit of a distance, and then we have another knot yet. And it's good to have this knot so that we can stop the smart bead from just sliding. So I'm going to tell you about how long to leave between the top of the smart bead and the next knot. And I just measured it. It's about 20 millimeters. So let's go ahead and tie another overhand knot. And we're going to measure. And if it's a little bit more, that is fine. However, if it's less, you might be a little bit too tight as far as opening the netting to maybe interchange with a different stone. So I am okay as far as the distance. So mine is something like 22 millimeters, which is obviously a little more than enough, but that's okay. 20 is just the minimum. It's not the maximum. So if you're a few millimeters over, that is perfectly fine. And so I am tightening this knot by pulling on each string one at a time. And should we see if it's working out? Let's do it. Okay, so pull up the smart bead, pop out the egg, and then we're going to, I don't know, I didn't grab an extra amethyst egg, so we'll just steal the amethyst egg from the other one and pop it in and push down the smart bead, and it is working exactly as it is supposed to. Okay, so let's continue. So one of my favorite things ever to design with are Herkimer diamonds, and we're using Herkimer diamonds in the amethyst and carnelian version of the necklace, and we're using Chrysocolla chalcedony in the rose quartz and howlite version. So the really springy version is the Chrysocolla chalcedony. And so this is what I like to do. I like to start maybe an inch from the center knot, just giving, you know, a little space. I like the spacing of maybe between 1 inch and 2 inches from the knot. And so again, I am making an overhand knot. And so I subdivided the string into 3 and 3. So we're essentially treating it as a unit of 3. And I'm tying a knot with 3 of the strands. And again, I'm just going to tighten. I always tighten just like this every time I tie a knot. And then we are going to tie another knot so that it is about level with the first. And as you divide the 3 and 3 strands, just make sure that it lays right, because sometimes you grab the wrong strand and it just kind of wants to cross over to the other side. So maybe play with the strands a little bit just to make sure that you are happy with how it lays. Okay, ladies, so this is what we have so far. And now I'm going to start putting my Herkimer diamonds on the string. And so when you open your kit, you will find 14 Herkimer diamonds. So a little bit about these absolutely beautiful double terminated crystals. This is how they come out of the ground, minus the hole, of course. The hole is put there by human hands. They are drilled. However, they are not created in a factory. They are created by nature. So they're all going to be just a little bit different in shape and size. There's going to be a lot of variation. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is divide my group of 14 into two groups of 7. And the way I like to do it is so that it's kind of a little bit graduated. Of course, you can do it so that it's completely random. But for this, I'd rather not be so random. I like the largest one about in the center. And then I'm just going to go smaller, smaller, and smaller. And so here's what I have. I have 2 of these lovely groups that are a little bit graduated, and I'll show you. It's not super obvious, but you can see that the smallest ones are towards the ends. It's just more aesthetically pleasing if you put the largest crystals in the center of each strand.
Kim K says those Herkimers are beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much, Kim. Okay, so I'm going to start stringing the Herkimers, and let's see. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to separate a strand that is in the center, and we'll start with that strand. So I'm going to string my Herkimer onto the center strand, although honestly, any of the 3 strands can end up in the center. So just pick one that you like most. And so you can see I have my Herkimer on the single strand. And this is what I mean by in the center. So this is the one that seems to want to be between the other 2. It just kind of naturally lays there. And then I'm going to, when I make these, or really I've used this technique for other types of necklaces and bracelets, other than Shekere. So whenever I use this 3-strand knotting technique where the 2 strands are on the outside of the bead, this works out best when I use flat beads. And so this happens to be just kind of naturally flat. And then on the rose quartz and the howlite one where I used the chrysocolla chalcedony, you can see that is flat as well. So the only way your string is going to lay on either side of the bead is if you are working with flat beads. Okay, so holding on to the bead. So the bead is now kind of like our handle, and I'm pulling it towards the knot. So I'm pulling it, and at the same time, I am tying my overhand knot with all 3 strands. And let's just keep our bead in place, so don't let it slide up, so that we get this look of just kind of a nice and tightly held bead. Okay, this is what it looks like. And now we're ready for the next bead. So again, I'm going to separate the strands and isolate the one that I think should be in the center. And I'm going to pick up my next Herkimer and slide it all the way down. And again, hold it in place. So just kind of keep pulling it towards the knot, or keep pulling it towards that first bead that I strung onto the string. And now we're going to tie another knot. Again, you just tie a knot right next to the bead, not letting it get away. So this is the easiest way to do this. I know some people want to start out, you know, out here away from the bead and then kind of guide the knot towards the bead, maybe with an awl. And you know, if that method works for you, wonderful, whatever works for you. So I'm just sharing what works for me, and especially with this 3-strand technique, what really works for me is just starting out the knot right next to the bead. And just keeping it there rather than starting away from the bead and then guiding it towards the bead. Okay, ladies, so you get the idea. I'm not going to string all of them because it's really repetitive, but this is what we are getting. So we're starting to see a pattern, and we're just going to continue until all 7 are strung and there are knots in between. And of course, through the magic of Facebook Live, this is what I have. And let me just move my beautiful little Herkimer diamonds, and we're going to continue. And we'll pop an egg in here, just so, you know, it's kind of not fun to look at this empty pouch. We want something beautiful in it, and that's going to be our absolutely beautiful carnelian egg. And I will say each one is different. Each one of the carnelian eggs is going to be a little different. Each one of the chevron amethyst eggs is going to be different, and I picked them all myself, so please know that they will all be beautiful. Okay, ladies, so now that we have finished knotting all these beads in place, we are going to address what happens at the very end. And this really is going to be determined by just how long do you want your necklace. So I'm thinking, and you know, I'm going to measure it from this knot. And so I'm thinking I want mine about 32, maybe 34 inches. You can make it up to, what did we say, up to 36 inches. You have enough string to make it up to 36 inches, possibly even a little longer, but I don't know that you're going to want it a little longer. Okay, so this is 24 inches, and if I do 5 more, maybe I'll do a little less. Okay, so if I do, yeah, this is 5, so this would be 34 inches. Maybe I'll do 32 inches. Okay, 32 is good. And so this is where I want my knot. So this is the type of necklace that you just throw over your head. It's very casual. It is very, very easy to wear. And I'm making another, oh, I lost one. Making another overhand knot with all 6 of the strands. So we're going to make the knot and then tug on each one of the strands to make it a little more snug. I can actually really feel the knot tightening between my fingers. And that's it, done. Okay, so let me show you where we're going with this. So whenever I make a necklace like this that does not have a clasp, but that just kind of ties off at the back, this is what I like to do. I like to give it a little tassel just to make it look nice and finished. It's cute if you have your hair up, or maybe you just have short hair. It's just really cute when you see this, this tassel at the back of your neck. So we're going to do that. And so this is what I'll do. I'm going to tie. This time it's not exactly an overhand knot. It starts out as overhand knot, but it ends up being a surgeon's knot. And so a surgeon's knot is just kind of a double overhand knot. And I'm going to do that with all 6 of my strands. Maybe I'll just do a couple right now just to show you guys, and then I'll do the rest later after we have finished the video. So this is what I do. I just make these knots, and you know what, let's do one more just to break it down. So this is what you do. You start it out as an overhand knot like that, but then you take the and you put it through the loop one more time. And as you are tightening the knot, look what happens. It's going to look like a little infinity sign or a figure 8. And then you know you're doing it correctly. And then you simply tighten the knot. That's it, done. And so why do you want to do this? You might want to do this for several reasons. Maybe you want a bigger knot. So this is going to give you a bigger knot. But the main reason I do it, and so I just string the bead on, okay? And we're going to make the same exact kind of knot on the other side. So again, we're going to start out as if we are making an overhand knot, and then put the string through the loop one more time and tighten the knot. So this is what it's going to look like. So this is what I'm going to point out. You have the string very straight. You can see that it's not zigzagging. When you tie a regular overhand knot with a single string like this, it is going to zigzag. It's going to go in one direction, then it's going to go in the other direction. But when you make it a surgeon's knot, it's actually going to look very straight. And that is what I'm going for here. So let's just do one more bead, and then we're going to cut off the ands. So again, we're going to hold on to the bead. So whenever you're tying the knot on the other side of the bead, you always want to hold on to the bead as if the bead is your handle. And then I'm actually gripping my bead as well as the knot with my 2 fingers. And when I get really, really close, that's when I push the knot towards the bead. So that really works well for me. So what do you guys think? Do you have any questions about how to make a Shekere necklace? So in the meantime, while you're pondering, I will just show you that all I do at this point, once you have the beads on, so these are the beads for our tassel, we're just going to cut the string about a 1/4 inch or so past the bead. And that's it. That's all we do. We don't need to glue them. We don't really need to do anything else.
Elena says, hello, Irina and Tony.
Hi, Elena, and thanks for joining us.
Lori says, I love your knotting technique.
Thank you so much, Lori. Yay, I'm so glad. So let me know if you have any questions for me at all. And so I think I'm just going to finish. It'll take me another 5 minutes or so to finish and add all the other beads. And you guys know how to do that, so I don't feel we need to do that right this moment. And in the meantime, I'm going to do a little preview for what is coming up tomorrow and next Thursday. And so tomorrow, I hope you join me for the shopping event, and this is going to be tomorrow, March. What is tomorrow? Is it March 8th? Yes, tomorrow's March 8th. Guess what? It's International Women's Day tomorrow. So I hope you do something wonderful for International Women's Day. And I'm just showing you a little bit of a preview of the shopping event. And so the theme is Pretty in Pink. And so I'm going to have all sorts of wonderful rhodochrosite pendants. And what do you guys think about this opal pendant? It is magnificent, even if I say so myself. And some of the opals are not going to necessarily be pink, but this one happens to be pink, so that really fits our theme. And so all sorts of beautiful pink gemstones, including rhodochrosite and tourmaline and rose quartz and just so much more. And this is, again, tomorrow, March 8th at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on the Eclectica page. So please join me for that.
Sarah says very pretty.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
And Nora D says it's her birthday.
Oh, yay! Happy birthday, Nora. That's wonderful. Birthdays are special.
Oh, Lori says, I do have a question. Can you use a different type of cord?
Lori, I'm sure you could, but since I have mostly experimented with this cord, I couldn't tell you what it would be. So, you know, you can always use something different. I'm generally just sharing things that I know work. But yes, if you know of something else that works beautifully for you, you can share it with us, please.
Elena says, can't wait to watch the replay.
Yay! Thank you so much, Elena. You can always watch the replay. We archive all of our videos. They're available for many years to come.
Glenda is wondering, what was the stone for tomorrow's stones on string?
Oh, this right here? This is the most amazing primitive cut pink tourmaline. It is stunning beyond words. I love this one so much. Okay, ladies, so to continue with my preview, this is the Tropical Island bracelet, and I'm doing the Tropical Island bracelet tutorial on Thursday, March 14th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on my jewelry design page, which is where you are right now. And so this is, oh, in fact, this actually has something in common with the Shekere necklace. I just thought of that. Well, actually, no, it has two things in common with the Shekere necklace. Can you guys guess? You don't have to tell me. Well, you can put it in the comments. But while you're guessing, I will tell you the obvious thing actually is that they're both knotted. So the bracelet is knotted on leather, and the other thing is that there is a smart bead which is acting as our clasp. So that is how it works. So let me show you. I'm going to model it for you. I was actually wearing it the entire video because, you know, it's my new baby, so I wanted to wear it. So this is what you do. Once you have it on, simply push that little smart bead towards the rest of the beads, and you have just tightened the bracelet, and you have this cute little tassel. Here, I'll show you. This is what it looks like. And but of course it's meant to hang down so that you can see the focal point on top, and the focal point are the hand-carved bone beads and the absolutely stunning inlaid wooden beads, and they're inlaid with shell. I don't know if you can see how very beautiful they are, but I love these beads so much.
Ellen says beautiful design.
Thank you so much, Ellen. Okay, ladies, and I believe we just, oh, no, I have one more thing to tell you. So I know I said maybe a week or two ago, please mark your calendars. In the meantime, I'll just put some pretties in front of me so you have something beautiful to look at. And so some of you already know because I've been getting a lot of questions about this event. So we are doing our own little event slash bead show in Novi, Michigan on May 4th and 5th. And we are so super excited. So it's going to be us, Eclectica, and a few friends. So it's going to be kind of a really fun mix of vendors, and we hope you come and see us. And you can, I believe there's a link, and so if you follow the link, you can let us know if you're coming. And I'm sure for most people it's a few states away. But if you are in Michigan, or maybe you are in Ohio, or I don't know, somewhere close, maybe you can come and visit us, and we'll have a good time. We'll have some door prizes. We'll be doing some fun things. So as we are putting it together, we're still figuring out exactly what we're doing. So we were just talking about door prizes today. So we'll have a great time. Okay, ladies, and I believe this covers everything. So I think it's time to say goodnight. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for your comments. And I will see you tomorrow for the shopping event. In the meantime, have a wonderful and creative evening.